Alright guys, welcome to another RWBY video. If you guys are watching this before the return of Volume 8, quickly pat yourself on the back. If I got this right, then we only have one day before Volume 8 returns, which means you guys have successfully survived your first ever mid-season hiatus for RWBY. Volume 8 is returning on February 6th, and we've already been given a few hints and pieces as to what upcoming fights we might get in the coming chapters. So I thought, cause why not, we look at the little pieces and hints that we've been given in the promotional videos and also the past chapters and sort of come up with an idea of what might happen in each fight, as well as what each fight might lead to in the future. Before we get to that real quick though, I just want to say thank you guys for watching the video. If you guys enjoyed this video, you can like and subscribe so you can see not only my future RWBY videos, but also my WandaVision reactions, my anime reactions, and my Miraculous Ladybug videos. Thank you again for watching, and I hope you guys enjoy. Alright, let's get started. So right now, 3 big fights have been hinted towards us, not only in the promotional videos during the hiatus, but also the past chapters in the in Volume 8. These fights are the prison fight, the Schnee Manor fight, and the whale fight. So let's kind of go down each fight one by one and sort of dissect them to figure out what might happen in each one. So the first fight I want to cover is the prison fight. It's also important to note that there's a good chance that Neo is also going to be a part of the prison break group. So in this theory, she'll be with her. So we've seen parts of the break-in already. We don't know how Cinder gets into the prison. I imagine it's similar to how she got to the Winter Maiden. And with no one really competent around at the base, she'll probably find it pretty easy to get to Watts. I believe when Ironwood is slamming his fist on the desk, it's because he's watching Cinder just wreck his guards while she's getting to Watts. I think he'll realize that no one else is really in the base to try and stop Cinder. I mean, who else can go up against her? Fucking Bill? No, he's gonna actually have to go and try and stop her himself. Now, we did get another clip of Ironwood looking surprised at first before starting to grow a smile or a smirk. I don't think this is him seeing Crow, because if it was Crow, why would he be smirking? I think that clip is for something completely different. That doesn't have anything to do with the prison break. After all, I'm sure Ironwood has more than one scene in the second half of the volume. So going back with Cinder, we see this explosion in the promo. I've seen some people question why the prison looks the way it does. All the cells look connected, and I guess now we know why. If one gets taken down, then all of them disappear, which makes it easy to explain how Crow and Robin are able to try and stop the villains from escaping themselves. So when Cinder is blowing up Watts' prison, she's essentially setting everybody else free because she doesn't have a key. There's no other way to get Watts to escape. So we also got the clip of Cinder searching through the rubble, trying to find Watts. I doubt anybody died in that explosion. I just feel like that's a weird way for anyone, even Jock, to go. So I imagine everybody survived, and we'll probably see everybody pop out of the rubble. So now that everybody's out, everybody's free, Cinder will try and take Watts, but Robin Crow, while not knowing what's going on, will probably still want to try and stop her. I imagine this is when we like sort of split up. You have Robin versus Neo, and then Crow trying to handle Cinder. I say trying because remember, he doesn't have his weapon, so most likely he'll just be like turning into a bird or something and just trying to evade Cinder and trying to distract her until more help comes, or like until they come up with a plan to try and stop them from escaping. Robin, I doubt will have much problem with Neo. Like, Neo is strong, but Robin is like a graduate of Atlas as well as the leader of the Happy Huntresses, so I feel like she'll have enough skill to, even without a weapon, at least hold off Neo. Meanwhile, like I said, Crow will be like flying around trying to escape Cinder's fireballs or ice powers, whatever she throws at him, and you'll see like as the fight continues, he's having like more and more of a problem evading them, because remember, these guys have not only been through a plane crash and a fight with Tyrion, but also their bodies have no doubt not gotten used to fighting because of like a whole day of just sitting. No doubt they are just like not in their element like they're usually. So I imagine that it'll be even harder for Crow to fight, A, without a weapon, and B, just in the state that he's in. This is where Ironwood comes in. He show up with his weapons, maybe a new black pistol, that because he lost his versus when he fought Watts, and maybe he'd even have Crow's weapon. Now I say this because despite it being like really convenient that Ironwood decided to pick up Crow's weapon, hear me out, because remember that Crow's semblance is bad luck. He brings bad luck to people around him, mostly his enemies, the people that he's fighting. Remember the fight with Tyrion. So what would be more unlucky than having Cinder's opponent suddenly gain the upper hand with a weapon and also a comrade? I know it's like, oh, what are the odds that Ironwood is able to get these weapons? But if you think about Crow's semblance, he's basically able to shift reality to the misfortune of whoever's around him with his bad luck charm. So it kind of makes sense if you think about it. But anyways, Ironwood would be there. He has Crow's weapon. Crow would look at Ironwood like sort of glaring at him because he, of course, still has that vendetta against him. But you know, the fact that there's like a maiden in front of them and she's obviously a big threat, and her taking Watts would be a bad thing. I imagine that they would both set aside their differences. Ironwood would give Crow his weapon, which might still be covered in Clover's blood. Like, you know, there'd be no reason for them to clean it. In fact, they probably can't clean it because it's evidence. And the two would go up against Cinder. Now you have your fights. You have Robin versus Neo, and then you have Ironwood and Crow versus Cinder. And then you have Jock in the background somewhere, cowering in fear. You know what would be funny though? If Jock got into the middle of the fight and like Robin or Crow or Ironwood would have to not only defend themselves against whoever they're fighting, but also like pull Jock away from whatever like attack was coming, so he wouldn't like, you know, get crisped or like punched in the throat or something. I just thought of the idea because it reminds me of the Cobra Kai scene. I don't know if you guys have watched it. Basically, there is a fight scene where the heroes are fighting these group of opponents, and not only do they have to fight to defend themselves, but they also have to pull one of their friends away from the incoming punches and kicks. And I thought like, and it was the fight scene itself was like so dynamic, and it was a lot of fun to see. So I thought like, you know, just a random idea. I doubt they're gonna do that, but I thought that'd be like cool to see. Just like Jacques getting in the way, and they have to like pull him out so he doesn't get like hurt. Even though if he got hurt, I doubt anybody would care. Now, unfortunately, I imagine you guys know how I think this fight is gonna go. Based off the promotional videos that we've gotten, it's clear that Watts is able to hack Penny. So I'm pretty sure that the villains are gonna win this one. Now, how they're gonna win, I imagine will be kind of interesting if they do it like this. So at the beginning of the fight, when Ironwood shows up, Ironwood and Crow actually get the upper hand versus Cinder. Now that Crow has his weapon and he has a teammate, and both are fully accomplished huntsmen, and one of them is even a headmaster, I imagine if Penny and Winter can hold off Cinder, then there's a good chance that Ironwood and Crow can actually win against Cinder. So with Ironwood and Crow just like putting more and more pressure on her, she's remembering how life has screwed her over, how Salem has screwed her over, how the mistress has screwed her over, how her farm screwed her over, and just all these thoughts of just bitterness, negativity fuels her grim arm, and it starts to spread even more across her body. And while it's doing that, it's either mixing with her aura or it's just making her stronger somehow, and that's mixing in with the maiden power, and it's making her stronger. And I think with this new power, it'll give her the edge she needs to beat Ironwood and Crow in the fight. We already know that Cinder's arm is growing, like it's consuming her more and more, so it wouldn't be that strange to have it consume her more and more during a very stressful situation. I don't know what would happen to her mental state after this fight. I imagine she'd be more on edge, but she'll still have enough mental capacity to know that she needs to get Watts out of here so he can get to Penny. So I think he'll grab Watts. There's a good chance that maybe Neo will be left behind and then imprisoned, or maybe Neo will be able to get away with them, and they'll, either way, whatever happens, they'll ship out, they'll quickly get out whatever escape route they have, and then they're heading straight to Ruby and the others to get to Penny. And that pretty much wraps up Jailbird's fight. I think this fight will not only be really cool to see, but it'll also bring some interesting events in the future, because now we have Ironwood, who is no longer this secondary antagonist, but instead this awkward sort of friend and enemy, because now I imagine the relationship between the Jailbirds and Ironwood at least will be different. Like, you're not going to expect Ironwood to suddenly go back to try and arrest the Jailbirds, or you don't expect Crow or Robin after a fight with a maiden to just turn on Ironwood and try and fight him. At the most, maybe they'll try to escape in the smoke, but I doubt that they're just gonna be butting heads immediately afterwards. And this could lead to, okay, now we have no choice but to work with Ironwood and the Aesops to try and figure out what's going on. Penny has been taken, or I mean, Penny is in danger, and we can't be fighting amongst ourselves. So we're gonna have to sort of come to a middle ground, sort of like what John did with the whale. So we're moving on to the Schnee Manor now, and if you remember in the promotional videos in the chapter 7, Team RWBY is recuperating in the manor, and they're a bit lost. They don't know what to do, and that's when Klein suggests, okay, let's take it little by little, and first let's figure out how to turn on these lights. And then that's when Willow comes in, says there is a generator in the far edge of the manor, and if that is not a setup to a fight, I honestly don't know what is. So this is when the team will be split. You're gonna have Nora, Penny, and May staying behind. Nora and Penny are still recuperating, and May, I believe, will be there to defend the manor in case something happens. Meanwhile, you have Blake, Weiss, and RWBY heading towards the generator and trying to figure out how to turn on this generator to get the power back on. Let's focus on the RWBY, Weiss, and Blake fight. This is where the Hound is going to jump in, and remember, the Hound is not after RWBY or the others. They're after Penny. So I believe that RWBY and Blake and Weiss will intercept this Grim as it's going towards Penny. Maybe they'll figure out along the way, like, oh, maybe this thing is after Penny, let's try and stop it. Or maybe they're just like, this is a giant fucking Grim and it's heading towards the manor, let's take this thing out. And I think it's really funny how in the 100th episode, RWBY is fighting the big bad wolf, because everybody believes that the Hound, and I also believe it as well, is the big bad wolf of RWBY. And the fact that RWBY is going up against the big bad wolf in the 100th chapter, like, I don't know if this was planned or not, but I think that is brilliant. Just absolutely brilliant. Like, that's perfect. So we also see that RWBY is not only going to be going up against the Hound, but also this new high-end Grim. And if you guys don't know what a high-end Grim is, check out my other video, because that's what I call these new smart multi-purpose Grim. But yeah, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, check out my discussion. It is going to be in the comment section below. So yeah, this is either a high-end Grim or just another big dangerous Grim, similar to the Knucklevi or the Sea Dragon, or so on and so forth. There's also the possibility that this is the Hound and it's just shifting its body again. It's also able to shift its mask. Whatever the case, I do not see RWBY and the girls being able to take down the Hound in this chapter. I honestly think the Hound will be taken down all together, so with Yang included. I think that's when it'll be taken down, similar to the Paladin in Volume 2. How they were able to take them down with like multiple team attacks and just all together, and it was just the 4 of them. I think that we'll get something similar with the Hound. There will be, at least if that Slime Grim does turn out to be its own thing and not a high-end Grim, and if it's just a regular strong Grim, then I think they'll be able to at least take that thing down. But there's a chance that they won't either. Like, I do not see this ending well for the heroes. So while this is going on outside, back in the Schnee Manor, we also still have to worry about Penny. We know Penny is going to be taken over, her eyes are going to be red, and she's no doubt going to be heading towards Watts, because she believes that that's where she needs to go. If you remember, when Ironwood was taking control of her, she believed that she needed to go to the vault. So there's a good chance that she's not going to be trying to kill anybody, she's not going to be trying to do anything. As long as she's not attacked, she'll be heading straight to Watts. And that is why I believe May will stay behind, because she'll try and stop her. To no avail. I do think she's going to be taken down, but maybe she can like hold her off. There's also a good chance that Willow will get into the mix and trying to stop her with summoning attacks. Maybe because Whitley is in danger, or maybe even Klein is in danger. We know that she's able to summon. We've seen her in the comics, which were confirmed to be canon. So there's a good chance that she's able to summon. The problem is, though, I doubt her summoning attacks are going to be as strong as Winter's. I doubt they'll be even as strong as Weiss's. And that's simply because of 2 things. One, I could be wrong, but I do believe that summoning is connected not only to, like, of course, your aura, but also your mind. And Willow has, been through a lot. She's been in a dark place and filled with drinking and just misery. So I feel like that's gonna affect the strength of her summon. Not only that, but I doubt that she has many Grim in her Pokédex, if that makes sense. Like, I doubt she's fighting Beowulfs and Knucklevis left and right. So no doubt she has like very low level Grim, or maybe she has like the only Grim that we saw in the comics was the bird, so maybe it'll just be a bunch of birds that should be sending towards Penny. In the comics she does have like a hunting ground, so maybe she's hunting Grim, or maybe other animals. Maybe she can, if you kill other animals, you're able to take that, you're able to summon them as well. So maybe we'll see like bears and fish, I don't know. I doubt either way her summoning will be strong enough to stop Penny from trying to escape. One final thing I think will try and stop Penny is Nora herself. Like I said, Klein no doubt patched her up already and then moved on to Penny. So maybe like, you know, as the episode is going on, her aura is coming back slowly. So she might not be able to like fight at full power, but she'll be able to like, you know, try at least to stop her. So it'd be cool if like we see these three trying their best to stop Penny, and she's just mowing through them and going straight to Watts. There's also the chance that by this point Cinder, Watts, and maybe Neo have escaped the prison already and are heading towards the manor. If that's the case, then if Penny doesn't escape herself, then these three will be able to stop Willow, May, and a broken Nora pretty quickly, like without any problem. I do not see this ending well for the heroes at all, and both the Hound and with Penny. So yeah, I think the Schnee Manor, just like the jailbreak, will be another win for the villains. Finally, we have the Whale. This one actually has the least amount of hints. We haven't gotten anything except one clip, but it wasn't even with Yang's team. It was with Hazel. But we haven't gotten anything other than that with the Whale. I find that really interesting that we haven't gotten, we've only gotten old clips with Yang's team. So that must mean that like a lot of crazy stuff that they don't want us to see in promotional videos are going to be happening with Yang's team. So let's try and figure out what might happen. So last time we left Yang and her team, they left the Aesop ship and headed towards the Whale. They were given a time limit. Once the Aesops get the bomb, they're gonna plant that bomb either inside the Whale or next to the Whale, and they're gonna set that thing off. So they have until then to rescue Oscar. So I think that what they're gonna do is, because of the amount of Grim coming out of the Whale's mouth, and because we know that Salem is in there, I think that the team are gonna try and head towards the hangar and enter the Whale through there. And that's a problem because we know there are a bunch of Barangles just hanging from the ceiling there. So I feel like that was shown to hint at us that yeah, Yang's team are going to be fighting a bunch of Barangles. I do think that when heading towards Oscar, they're going to be actually pretty stealth about it, and they're actually going to be able to make it to Oscar without alerting any attention. And I think the clip that Hazel was shown walking out of a room, it was walking out of Oscar's torture room, and actually it was Yang's team that saw Oscar leave. So you're gonna see Hazel, Yang's team is gonna see Hazel leave that room, and then they're gonna enter stealthily in without alerting his attention. And then that's where they're gonna see a beaten, broken Oscar, which is gonna enrage Yang, because Yang has already gotten close to Oscar, so seeing him beaten and bruised, no doubt is gonna like piss her off. And it's probably gonna piss off Ren and John too, of course. They're all close to Oscar, and like Ren just discovered the power of friendship, so you know he's gonna be pretty pissed. So they're gonna get Oscar down. You're gonna have John heal Oscar's aura, or like, you know, activate Oscar's aura, and probably not like, you know, put him up to 100% strength because they don't have enough time for that, but probably just like give him enough strength to like, you know, walk. And after that, the team is gonna head out, and that's when the Barangles are gonna alert everybody in the Whale that they've been intruded. And I think this is where we're gonna see like the chase escape scene with Yang and the others, like, you know, fighting Barangles while trying to find a way to escape. And then they're gonna run into, I believe that's where they're gonna run into Hazel, who's gonna be like, what the hell do you think you're doing? Either it'll be really cool if, like, you know, he rounds the corner, he's already hulked up, and the team quickly go like nope and like head towards another direction, similar to the apathy scene that we got in volume 6, where we were just following Team RWBY as they were trying to escape the tunnel and escape the apathy. So seeing a scene similar to that would be really cool, like just the cameras following these guys as they're trying to escape. So I believe that Team Yang will get away from Hazel but run right into the whale's mouth, which is where Salem is. So yeah, you'll have Salem getting pissed. Ren's power will no doubt be going haywire as he's sensing like this thousands of years of just hatred and pain and sorrow, and even like Yang and John would be able to feel the dread in the air. So things are looking really bad. Hazel, I believe that's when Hazel will come in, and he's just hulked up, and he has every intention of ripping through Yang and Ren and John so they can get Oscar back into the torture room and probably beat the shit out of him for trying to escape. And when all hope seems to be lost, I think that this is when Raven will show up. I think, I know this sounds crazy, but I think this is the moment, because I do believe that them showing Tai Yang watching Ruby's message, I do believe that is a hint that Raven and Tai will show up. And I know this sounds really crazy, but I think if there's ever a moment for Raven to show up, it'll be when her daughter is on enemy lines, because that's like, you know, really dramatic, you know? I really think that this is when Raven is actually going to show up. And I think that she'll show up similar to how she did in RWBY Volume 2, where she shows up, shoots through the portal, and immediately starts attacking Hazel. And while she's doing that, Tai Yang will walk through the portal and tell Team Yang to, like, you know, evacuate. That's when he'll notice Salem. It would be really cool if he recognized her, but if he doesn't, then you know, just by the look of her, he'll know to, like, you know, it was time to leave. So he'll tell Raven, all right, it's time to go. It will be a really quick fight between Raven and Hazel. It won't even be a fight. She's just backing him up to get him away from her daughter and her friends. Tai would call Raven to summon another portal. This one would be leading towards Crow. It'll be really cool if when Raven backs up to summon a portal, Tai shoots forward to hold off Hazel, and maybe we see what he can do. We see his weapon, we see his semblance, something like that would be really cool. And so Raven will summon her portal and tell Team Yang to evacuate. Like, hurry up, get out. She'll spot Salem and be like, get the fuck back in the portal, hurry up. And when everybody's inside, that's when she's like, Tai, hurry up. Two things will happen. Either Tai Yang will escape with Raven, or maybe Tai Yang is unable to get away and he ends up getting stuck in the whale. So now Salem has a new prisoner, and it's Tai, and that could open up a lot of summer stuff in the future, and, you know, lead to other roads, which I think would be really cool. I know I didn't mention the Aesops at all in this fight. Honestly, I didn't really know where to put them. I don't know if they're putting the bomb outside or inside, but if it's inside, there's a good chance that bomb won't go off, and they will fail, and maybe an Aesop will die. I'm not sure. I honestly don't see this bomb going off, because then where would Salem's new hideout be, and how would she escape? I doubt this whale is going to be destroyed, and like I said, there's a good chance that an Aesop will die, maybe sacrifice him or herself after listening to Ren's words, but I don't see them succeeding in this fight. But that's it for my thoughts. I'll be honest, that last one, because we weren't given that much information as to what might happen, and really that one is probably the most up in the air. Most of that stuff is probably just fan fiction. But I had a lot of fun writing it, and honestly, there's some weight to what I'm saying. There's a good chance that maybe Raven will show up. I really do want Raven to show up. I am one of the people that believe that she'll show up. I actually have like a video, probably like, I'm pretty sure that was my first ever video, and it was Raven and how she would come into Volume 8 and help out Ruby. I thought she'd help out Penny, but I don't think that's gonna happen anymore. We'll get a nice redemption arc with her in Volume 8 as she's reconnecting with Yang, or connecting period, since they've never connected before. But despite that, I do think the other two are pretty solid. Eddie, Miles, and Carrie have all said that the second half of Volume 8 is supposed to be a lot darker. What we've gotten so far is just little sprinkles. So I do see a lot of losses for the heroes. I think that the first two fights that I mentioned will result in losses, and I do think that there's a really good chance that while the third fight with Yang is a win, there might be a sacrifice to that win. So whether that be the Aesops, whether that be Tai showing up into the whale and then getting captured by Salem, I do think that there will be sacrifices even for wins. But of course, this is all just speculation. All of this doesn't need to happen. In fact, none of this needs to happen. But if one of these things ends up happening, I'll be just overjoyed, just filled with hype, jumping up and down my seat, which you'll be able to see because starting in Chapter 8, which is the chapter that's coming out on Saturday, I will be reacting to Volume 8 again. and then uploading it the week it is released to the general public. So if you guys want to know when that's uploaded, just subscribe so you know when it comes out. Again, thank you guys for watching. I had a lot of fun making this video and coming up with all these scenarios. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and hopefully maybe you agree with some of these things as well. If you did, tell me in the comment section down below what you guys thought, what your ideas are for Volume 8's fights coming up, and also if you think that Raven could show up. I really do think that she will show up. Please have her show up. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.